Welcome to the Pay It Forward Emergency Detox. The following video is dedicated to David Meier. He died March 10th, 2017 from multiple drug toxicity. He was 23. First of all, I'd like to start out by saying I am not a doctor, I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm not a pharmacist, I'm not any of these things. I'm a father who lost a son, and I've been watching on the internet since 2017 and reading, and I cannot believe what I see on there. I see Facebook mainly is the one I noticed that is blocking everyone who's trying to detox. They are in bed with the pharmaceutical companies. I believe that wholeheartedly. Everything you try to do on there, they block you. And it's been that way since 2017. I've seen groups on there with people trying to detox using kratom. The FDA Commissioner Scott Gottlieb at the time, he came in there. 45,000 people in a group, sharing information, sharing side effects, sharing everything you need to know, not only about kratom, but about other supplements, and not to take certain supplements, like if you have a thyroid condition, or if you do have to take them, space them out 8 hours apart. You know, all this was great information, and Facebook made sure that people could not share it and that they could not read about it because they pulled it because they didn't want people helping others, and this was very, very obvious. So why this detox? Well, first of all, this is absorbic acid. It's vitamin C, absorbic acid, L-ascorbic acid. You want to make sure you get a good quality food grade, something that's decent. People use absorbic acid for many different things. You want to make sure that you follow exactly what they're talking about as far as amounts go. There are some wonderful people on YouTube that made videos about this. They've actually helped tens of thousands of people already get off of drugs. People are loving it. They're understanding why wasn't this made available before. Just a little bit of information. They've known about this since the 1950s. It was first brought up in 1978 in a study. The study proved that not only could people get off of these drugs, but they didn't relapse. They got their mind straightened out and they were able to do better. And in 2012, people revisited this study and they decided that there was no money to be made off of it. There's no pharmaceutical drugs that they can sell, so there's no reason to tell anybody about it. You know, the FDA says how it's there to protect and preserve your health, but in reality, it's not about health. It's about the pharmaceutical companies. And we see this in the politicians and in the opioid companies, how even like the politicians said, we're going to get billions of dollars in money from these opioid companies, you know, and for everything that's happened. But yet the families, the people who had the problem, will never see any of it, not even one penny. So if you lost your loved one and you spent $3,000, $5,000, $8,000, whatever it costs you to bury them and live with that misery for the rest of your life, the government does not care. And let's make sure we know this right away. None of these politicians, none of these people, Scott Gottlieb, could give a crap. Okay? He's making money off the crap. Okay, he's making money off the pharmaceutical companies, and I'm not going to go down this road with him, but anybody who notices anything about what's going on in the real world notices that in right before the pandemic, in like June or July of 2019, Scott Gottlieb took a job with Pfizer. Now look at what Pfizer's doing with these drugs with the pandemic. If you don't think he has an insight to this whole system, what's going on here, then I believe you're mistaken. Anyway, let's go on. What you need to know, how bad is it going to be? Basically, this detox method is going to take 70 to 80% of the withdrawals out of it. So you're going to be okay. There's no doubt. We're going to take a second to talk about how much vitamin C do I take. Now, I really want you to take the time to read this study and find everything, but I'm going to give it to you in a nutshell. It's pretty simple. So if you don't know, the vitamin C, the absorbic acid, it comes in a bag. Usually it's white powder. Basically what you do is you take the powder and you're going to get a scale, a little small one, and you're going to make a little cup or find a lid off of something, and you're going to learn how to adjust the tier, adjust the thing so it's on zero. You're going to get a little spoon, measuring spoon, preferably quarter of a teaspoon, just a real small one. You can use different things if you want. Once you get used to it, you'll be able to do it your own way. But basically, it's pretty simple. A gram is 1,000 milligrams. Pretty simple. It's metric system. So at the beginning, day one, you're going to be taking 500 to 1,000 milligrams. So you're going to be taking basically a quarter of a teaspoon is about 1,000, I believe. Well, it comes out to 1.24, so it'd be a little bit more than a gram, roughly. But see, the density of vitamin C, how much you fit into that little quarter spoon is not the same. And it's very important that you take the time to weigh it out and try to get it as precise as possible. The reason for this is because we're going to be sharing this information with other people. And we don't want to just guess and take as much as we want and say what it is, or just say, well, that spoon's 1.24, 1 gram or 1.24. What's the difference? A quarter of a gram. It's not going to make that much of a difference. I'm just going to take it. But it's going to matter to the next person, because he might not do that. If we all weigh it out, if everybody who does this plan actually takes the time to weigh out their dosages, then what will happen is we'll all be doing it together the same way. And this way, if there's something we want to change, we can communicate with each other and we can say, hey, maybe we need to up this up. And there's a parameter, numbers you got to stay within in order for this to work correctly. So basically on day one, you're going to take somewhere between half a gram to a gram, between 500 to 1,000 milligrams. And you're going to take that every 2 hours while you're awake. When you go to sleep, don't worry about taking it at night, but in the daytime when you're awake, every 2 hours. Now this is when you're still using at this point. Okay, if you're not using at this point, you've already quit, but you're just having issues and you're thinking about using again, and it's only been a couple of days since you used and you want to do this, you don't have to wait. Do this today. Don't hesitate. You can buy this from any health food store. You just got to move and do it. Day two, you want to do it, you want to start 1,000 to 2,500, basically 1 gram to 2.5 grams. And the way you're going to be taking this is you're going to mix it in, get some fruit juice and some water. The reason they say to mix it is because it's crystals. The crystals kind of float in the fluid, and you need to drink as much as possible. So for every 2 hours, for day two, you're going to do the same thing again, but only 1 gram to 2.5 grams, depending on how you feel. This is another thing where you got to let your body do the talking. You always want to start out at the lower level. Start out at the 1 gram. Weigh out 1 gram of powder. Take it, mix it in with your little bit of fruit juice, half and half with some water. Mix it in there. Just down it. Drink it down. Day 3, that's a day if you are using drugs. This is going to be your last day you use them. So you're going to want to, at this point here, if you don't have to take them, if you're ready to roll, pitch them in the garbage. If you're not quite ready, you still ain't 100% sure, take them for that last day. But make sure you're going to boost up day 3. You're going to expand it. Instead of every 2 hours, you're going to go to every 3 hours. And you're going to take between 5 to 7.5 grams every 3 hours. Now, this is only if you're quitting. If you're going to quit, if not, maybe boost it up, go towards the 1,000 to 2,500 milligrams from day 2. But day 3 is the day you want to quit. You want to stop doing it. So that's what you got to work towards. So on day 3, no more drugs. This is it. That's it. You're done with it. So you're going to be between 5,000 to 7,500, which means between 5 to 7.5 grams, which is a lot of vitamin C powder. It's going to have a salty taste to it when you get into that kind of amounts. The good thing is you only got to do it every 3 hours instead of every 2 hours. When you start getting to those amounts, some people have stomach issues. They feel that their stomach's hurting. That's where you might have to go down to the 5 grams instead of the 7.5. If you're having worse issues and you still don't feel right, and you feel like you need a little more help, make sure you're drinking lots of fluids, you're doing your stuff. This is the time when you're going to have some issues. You're going to want to start. Your body should be getting built up though by this point. So on day 4, when it comes around, now remember, at night, if you have issues, okay, after you're done taking, this means you stop taking the drugs altogether, and let's say you're having, you wake up in the middle of the night and you're having issues. You can take more of it. Take another 3 grams, take another 3,000 every 2 hours until you can go to sleep, until it goes away. If you're up for 4 hours, you've taken, 5,000, 6,000, 7,000, another 7 grams, that's okay. If you're really suffering from withdrawal and you're really having an issue. If not, take the bare minimum. Always remember, less is more. The less you have to take to resolve the issue, the better. But there's no reason to be suffering a lot. If you can take a little bit more of it, you'll be okay. So then day 4, now you remember, you've stopped using completely. You're going to stay about between 2,500 to 5,000 milligrams, but you're going to go back to every 2 hours. Okay, and then you're going to stay with that every 2 hours until you go to bed. When you go to bed, if you go to sleep and you wake up and you're having issues, you got to stay with that 2.5 grams to 5 grams every 2 hours until you get back to sleep, because you're going to need to try to boost yourself and block that opioids from staying in your brain. You want to expel this, and day 4 is probably not going to be the best day, but you should be okay. You got a lot in your system at this point. You've really, really pushed the limits of what your body is going to do. And you've got the other supplements in you, and everything should be working out okay. You're doing your little bit of exercise, lots and lots of fluids. When you're at the high doses, you might want to find yourself just mixing it up in a quart. Yeah, you're going to have a lot more to drink, but it'll be more diluted. And you need the fluids anyway. So, sometimes people say Capri Sun, some people say other fruit juices that taste better, but some type of juice like that is really good. Something, it can be from concentrate, and you're also getting some more vitamin C from that too. But, it's why they tell you to dilute it with water, because with fruit juice that you buy over the counter has a lot of sugar in it. So, and you're drinking all the vitamin C, and vitamin C, it's got natural sugars and stuff. So you always want to make sure you always watch for that stuff. You don't want to take anything from 2 different sources if you can help it. Definitely. You want to just try to stay with what you're doing, what you're working on. Day 5 comes in, you're back, you're starting to down it. You're down between 1,000, 2,500 milligrams, basically 1 to 2.5 grams, somewhere between there. Every 2 hours still. Do this up until bedtime. And then day 5, don't take any at night. Unless you wake up and you feel you have to, and then maybe take, a gram and a half, 2 grams if you have to, but, try to start backing off of it day 5. You should have the opioids out of your system by this time, pretty much. They should be working out. Taking the apple cider vinegar, taking everything else, lots of fluid, you're pushing this out. Day 6, go back 1,000 milligrams every 2 hours. If you wake up at night, don't take more than 1,000 at night. Just do the same thing every 2 hours. If you can't get back to sleep, or if you're struggling, then 2 hours. Again, I'm going to be mentioning this later on. Things like 5-HTP, GABA, melatonin, these things can all help you to rest. And that's going to be important. Your body only heals when you're sleeping, so you got to rest. And you're not going to, if you can't get kratom, if you can't get none of this, that's okay too, because you don't have to have it. And this is very important. Supplements and things you're going to be using in here, you should know that. You should know how to take supplements, how to, understand this. Whenever you're introducing anything new to your body, you need to make sure that you take a little bit first. Make sure you don't have any kind of reactions. Not everybody's the same. Some people can take one thing, a ton of it, and not have an issue. Other people take just a little bit, they have major issues. So you want to take anything you put into your body just a little bit first and see exactly, make sure you don't have any kind of side effects from it. And I always suggest, before you start any kind of detoxing, there's a lot of these laboratories out there where you don't have to go to a doctor's office and you can get a blood test. Now you're going to say, why do I need a blood test? I know I've got drugs in my system. Well, that's the same way I feel. You don't need a blood test to know you got drugs in your system. Well, you're not a doctor. You're not going to a doctor. You're going to handle this and you're going to do what the doctor could not do. You're going to get yourself off of these drugs. Now this is a pay it forward system. So what you're going to be asked to do in this system is get a calendar, whether you do it on your phone or you want to do it on a good old-fashioned paper one that hangs on the wall. You're going to want to take notes of everything you do, how much of everything you take, the time you took it. All this is going to be majorly important, not only for you, but because this is a pay-it-forward system, you're going to have to help somebody else detox off of drugs as well. And just the information that you have of how you did on day 2 or day 11 or day 21 or day 56, whatever information you can pass on to that next person, or what you found helped you do more or helped you less or whatever, all this is going to matter because it's going to help somebody else down the road. This information has been thrown away by Facebook. It has been deleted out of so many accounts. We have to work together. This is the best thing I can say. Facebook, all these media companies, politicians, even President Trump, nobody's going to be able to fight this. Nobody. Biden, well, he's pretty useless. We see with his son who was addicted. We figured because he had lost, family members before and he has a son that's addicted, he would, want this more than anybody. Instead, he doesn't even care. And we know that, he's not thinking correctly. So we're not going to go down that road either. No reason to beat a dead horse. We know when we take supplements, we want to go easy. We want to take one thing at a time, best you can. You want to try to make sure you're cleaning out your system. You get your blood test done at one of these clinics you can go to where you don't have to pay and see a doctor. You can just go and they'll do your blood test. I had one done. It was about $100. It was a complete blood work. It had everything in it. If I would have went to the doctor, he probably would have charged me $300. But I wanted to know, and I am not an addict, but I have other issues with pain and whatnot, and it's way better to do it this way. They give you a thing right to your email address, go and no go, tells you right exactly what your levels are, where they should be, where you're at now. This is very, very helpful. When it comes to these supplements and this type of stuff, we're going to start out with what you need. And we know the absorbic acid. I recommend you buy, a 3-pound bag, 5-pound bag. You can buy these online, depending on the company you get them from, anywhere from $30 to $100. As long as it's a food grade, quality, vetted company that you're dealing with, I think you'll be fine. That's the best. Now, as far as supplements that go with this, in the actual study, people were using beta carotene. Later on, they brought in vitamin B and some other stuff. Well, since then, thousands of people have been working on this, and I put together basically a list of what they consider the best things to take. Now, there's some things that did not make the list that some people have, really, really good results with. And I'll put those at the end, just a short list of those, of what we have. But for right now, we're looking at turmeric, curcumin. Basically, you can buy it with or without black pepper. If you find it with black pepper, it saves you from having to buy another ingredient. Black pepper, garlic is great for your heart. If you don't eat cranberries, I suggest you take some cranberries, or you can buy a supplement of cranberries, something that's going to help some of your internal organs out, your kidneys and that kind of stuff. Apple cider vinegar, if you don't take it on a regular basis, you need to start taking it when you're detoxing. You need to try to clean these things out of your body and make them work best you can. It's very important that you either get a probiotic or you learn how to do a pre-probiotic. Basically what that is eating fruit and vegetables like raw potatoes and stuff like this. What doctors and people have found out is that eating a pre-probiotic is it helps your gut. And one thing you're going to have an issue with when you're detoxing is your gut. A lot of people get diarrhea. That's the reason they take kratom. That's the reason they take Imodium. If you're taking Imodium, which you might have to do if you have bad diarrhea, some people say, I can take as much of that as I want. And we know that that's not true. People who are taking 30 and 40 pills of Imodium, they're just screwing themselves. You never want to take more than a few. I know people say, it says take 1 or 2. I've seen people take 4 or 5, with no real issue. What's going to happen is it's going to bypass that blood barrier going to your brain, and it's gonna give you some effects. It's going to help a little bit with the detoxing, just like kratom, but people can buy Imodium without having to go through all the rhetoric in certain states and countries. Your main ones you need, and everyone needs this, vitamin B12 complex. That's what I recommend. I recommend the sublingual. It goes under your tongue. It has B12 also added to it. It's a great thing. First thing in the morning, every morning, I take it. The other things everyone needs, of course, your body's probably dying to get it. Calcium, magnesium, and zinc. A lot of times you can find all three of those in a one pill thing. Take 3 of those a day or whatever it says on the package. You want to make sure at first you're taking a little extra. In other words, you take your normal dose at the beginning, you make sure you don't have no side effects, then you want to maybe double up on those, especially at first while you're getting your body built up. And this is usually, if you look at the way the system works, this is usually you're taking this stuff with the ascorbic acid as you're detoxing. So in other words, you're still using it this time. You're taking this to build your body up, and this is an important thing. So when you start taking out the opioids and you have that pain and discomfort that comes with this, you're not going to have that when it comes to, or it's going to be really, really reduced because you have this stuff built up in your body. And if I didn't mention it, potassium is very, very important to your heart. And you need to, and it's struggling in this type of times, you need to make sure you got good potassium. If you're a woman, or even a man, some people could like folic acid for their heart. Everyone should have something for their heart because your heart's going to be, struggling in this. The whole idea of this detox is when you work and you do it correctly, your mind, your heart, and your body all work together as one, and they're back to the way they're supposed to be, not the way they are when you're on drugs. So this is a major thing. Vitamins D, we all know how important that is. A lot of the COVID people that have died, it's because of a lack of vitamin D. They had virtually none in their system. Vitamin E, vitamin K. Vitamin K you get in kratom. That's a lot of people take it. Vitamin E, that's a different story. Some people take fish oils, all this kind of stuff. All that helps, but the major ones, vitamin D, vitamin E, vitamin K, if you just take just the vitamins themselves, I think you'll be okay. Fish oil is something that a lot of people have real good results with those, so if that's the way you want to go to get it, that would be great as well. During the day, help your mood, help your issues. You need some DLPA. And if you've never heard of any of this stuff, you can buy a lot of it at like any of your local stores like Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, one of these pharmacies. Some things they don't have, like the DLPA, they usually can't buy it there. You got to actually go online to order it. When you're resting, it's very important that you have a schedule. You have a time you get up, you have a time you go to bed, you have a time you eat your meals. This is very important. When you're eating, you need to make sure you stay on a good diet. High protein. You want to make sure you try to stay away from sugars. Absolutely no caffeine. None. This will make things a lot better if you just stay away from caffeine for at least the first couple of weeks. 3 weeks into it, you want to start taking caffeine again, you're probably going to be okay with it. But you want to get through the first 2 weeks, which is the hardest part, without putting any more pressure on your body. So you want to try to stay away from that. When you're trying to go to bed at night in this routine, you're going to want to take your 5-HTP and GABA and melatonin. Melatonin's another one that's shown really good results with COVID-19. It helps the body. The melatonin with the GABA and 5-HTP will help you rest. And sleep is the most important thing. A lot of people detoxing cannot get to sleep. These things will help you, along with, and everybody, when you're doing this, I'm going to bring this up later, you need to make sure lots of fluids and exercise. This is very important. Remember, our goal is to get your heart, your mind, and your body all working together. And this can best be done with exercise. It doesn't have to be vigorous exercise by no means. If you're feeling horrible, just sitting in a chair, moving your arms and legs is good enough. Just picking them up, picking them down, moving them around, and just getting your blood flowing and getting those drugs to work out of your cells and work out of your system. This is majorly important. It will cut detox, not only problems, but length of detox, by as much as half if you do it correctly and you get enough fluid through your system. A lot of people drink Gatorade, something with electrolytes. The more fluids you have in your system, the better you're going to feel. I want everyone to understand this is a pay-it-forward program. In other words, when you figure out what you're doing, you need to take notes, whether it's on an electronic calendar or a good old-fashioned paper one on the wall. You need to write down exactly every day how you feel, what you took, what you were thinking about. Things like this, day 21, day 11, all these different days. It may not seem real important to you as you're detoxing, but the person you're going to help or the people you are going to help by paying it forward are going to really want to know this information. So if you have a hard time and you were struggling and all of a sudden you found a supplement that just made it so much easier for you, sharing that information with somebody so they can make an informed decision and they can look at that supplement and decide if that's right for them is very important. And when this is all over, we're talking after pause, post-acute withdrawal syndrome. When you're going through this is one reason a lot of people who make it through the initial detox, they go back to using drugs because they don't plan for pause. A lot of them don't know it. A lot of people who are on drugs never heard of cow scale. It's a system that the doctors use to know when it's time to start giving you MAT drugs. I'm not a big fan of MAT drugs. The drugs that are used in the MAT system to me are just more opioid, or they're designed to make the body cling to these drugs and keep using them. And I believe that this is one of the worst things our government has ever done to human beings in their lives, in my lifetime anyway, is to try to keep people addicted. What the FDA is doing, knowing that plans like the one I'm showing you right now is out there and they work, and they refuse to let the American public know in the time of crisis especially. To me, I feel that this is basically treason against the people of this country, and it should not be allowed. We see doctors all the time that are raking in $200-$300 a week from every individual they look at just to get the subs, just to get the methadone, just to get them in there. And what happens is if they screw up one time, and I know a lot of people that have done this, they have a bad drop and they say, oh, you got this in your system, you got that in your system. Even though the people know that they did not take those drugs, the doctor cuts them off, leaves them cold turkey, struggling with methadone or subs or whatever they got in their system. Or they make you pay for another test. That test comes back. If it's clean, they'll let you get back in the program. If not, you're out of the program and you lost the money you paid for the test. Some of these doctors are really heartless. They will not give you a chance. That's not in their character. That's just the way they are. Okay, so let's do a little recap here. You got yourself in a situation, you're going to get out of it. And not only are you going to get out of it, but you're going to help others. That's why this Pay It Forward emergency detox, and I call it an emergency because we need to detox everyone as soon as possible. We need to get the general population who was on these drugs to the point where they tell the people who are selling fentanyl and selling these opioids that if they keep doing it around you, you are going to turn them in. Not that they'll get arrested. A lot of cities aren't pressing charges anyway against these people, but just to get them to the point where they will not call you or they will not talk to you anymore is a major bonus in your life. You do not need those people in your life. Anybody who's out there selling opioids, selling heroin, selling cocaine, selling pills, anything that can have fentanyl in them. A lot of people take cannabis. That's okay. But you will notice, especially in the first couple of weeks of detoxing, if the first month, if you can do it, if you don't smoke pot, you take CBD oil. Sometimes a lot of people find a real benefit to this. If you do smoke cannabis, people do find it helps, especially with their mood. But the cannabinoids, the actual THC and stuff in the pot, sometimes can make the body work a little different. And in some people, it's their downfall because they get too relaxed and they're just too mellow. And the next thing you know, somebody offers them something and they figure, what the hell? And that's a problem. So you're going to make sure if you're going to use cannabis, if you're going to use it, get something smoke responsible. If you're going to smoke, try to smoke at the end of the day so you get more tired because you need to get that good rest. And by not smoking all day and then, hotboxing it is one way of putting it at the end of the night, basically what's going to happen is you're going to get that good rest. You're going to go to sleep and you'll be a little bit better off, I think, in the morning if you use cannabis at all. If you don't, well, that doesn't pertain to you. But it's something that I have to bring up because a lot of people, marijuana has saved their lives. nothing else to it. Times when they thought about just ending it all, they've gone and got stoned and come back, and next morning they wake up and forgot whatever even bothered them. It's helped them out so much. And I think that should be made public news, that this actually can help if used correctly. So we have a game plan. We know about the ascorbic acid. We know about the supplements we're going to need. We know we're going to take our melatonin, our GABA, 5-HTP at night, the other stuff we're going to take during the day, vitamin B first thing in the morning, the ascorbic acid throughout the day. You need, these type of supplements can have an effect on you if you take way too much. So some people, they always feel, I got to take as much as I can, Always feel out your body. Always see how your body is feeling. At first, you're not going to be able to do this, and this is why the first couple of weeks, I kind of recommend, if you can stay away from cannabis, to do that, because you got to understand that your body's getting rid of this drug, and by exercising, drinking lots of fluids, electrolytes, stuff like this, it's going to help you. And apple cider vinegar, stuff like this, cleaning out your system, getting those opioids out of your body as fast as possible, going to be a good thing, because you're already building your body up with the vitamin C and that stuff. So you've got something that's supporting you, and that's, helping you, whether you realize it or not. That's going to make all the difference in the world compared to other times when you detox. Now comes the hard part, what you're going to do in your mind. I recommend, first of all, Earl Nightingale. He was a great, great person in his life.
Rollo May, the distinguished psychiatrist, wrote a wonderful book called Man's Search for Himself. And in this book he says, the opposite of courage in our society is not cowardice. It is conformity. And there you have the trouble today. It's conformity, people acting like everyone else without knowing why, without knowing where they're going. Now think of it. In America right now, there are over 18 million people 65 years of age and older. And most of them are broke. They're dependent on someone else for life's necessities. Now, we learn to read by the time we're 7. We learn to make a living by the time we're 25. Usually by that time, we're not only making a living, we're supporting a family. And yet by the time we're 65, we haven't learned how to become financially independent in the richest land that has ever been known. Why? We conform. And the trouble is that we're acting like the wrong percentage group, the 95 who don't succeed. Now, why do these people conform? Well, they really don't know. These people believe that their lives are shaped by circumstances, by things that happen to them, by exterior forces. They're outer-directed people.
Time you help millions of people make a better life for themselves. You can go on YouTube and watch The Strangest Secret, or you can go on to his website. I believe his wife is still running it. Really, really great things there. Great inspirational things. Great. Some of them relate to the Bible. Some of them relate to old media personalities, newspaper owners, basically the philosophers in life. This information can make you smarter, and if you're smarter, you're going to do better. There are some other supplements out there that can help with serotonin and dopamine levels, but I really recommend just getting yourself back in order. A lot of times, just by getting the right amount of magnesium, calcium, potassium, and all that stuff, all the serotonin levels and all that will straighten themselves out. Your body, if working correctly, is the best regulator for you, and there's no doubt about that. Not any two people are exactly the same. Now we're going to come to where that serotonin, dopamine, the things in your brain, the things you need to try to get straightened out. We're going to start out with the most obvious, and that's your personal appearance. A lot of people who've been doing drugs really don't give a crap. Some of them, they really care too much. They've gone all out to where they've tried to change their body in such a way to make them look more like a movie star or more glamorous, or some effect on their body that they have done, whether it's hair, nails, eyebrows, whatever it may be. Now it's time to look at that and try to straighten out your body as far as your appearance. In that becomes a few things: your eyes, your teeth. I recommend, first of all, you get a plan. I use Carrington 500. And I'm not sponsoring them by any way. I'm just saying that I personally, it helps me out because it's a way you can get your discount on prescriptions if you needed them, or eyeglasses or anything like that. But most important is it helps you with your dental care. It helps to save, up to 60% off on your dental stuff. So a lot of times, people think their teeth are so bad. And if you've been using methadone, the doctors and everyone say methadone has no effect on your teeth. I think in the real world, in the 4 years since my son has died, all the research I have done, I can tell you methadone and subs have an effect on your teeth. Because people that have been doing heroin for years, that have switched to subs and methadone, all of a sudden have their teeth rotting out. So anybody who says it does not is a liar, I feel. That's personal opinion. Nothing else said, I regress. But basically, what we need to do is we need to try to get your body back in good shape. Get your hair done, get some glasses, contacts, whatever you may need. Get looking good, get feeling good. Just getting your teeth done is going to make you healthier. Even if it's just if you don't need no real work done, just getting them cleaned and, get everything done to them to where your mouth is healthy. If your mouth is healthy, it's going to make your body healthier. Everyone who's ever had an abscessed tooth or had an issue in the mouth that was really bad with their gums or something, they know that they probably felt sick or they had an issue. Once that infection in their mouth was gone, they felt better. Anytime you don't have an infection in your body, you will feel better. That's just kind of the way it works. Another thing is, and this is for everyone, I tell girls all the time, that I help mentor, that I say, if you meet a guy, the first date, you let everything go, you see how he is. The second date, if you're not sure if that guy is right for you, ask him his credit score. If he doesn't know his credit score, he's not right for you. Plain and simple. If he's not about trying to make his life better and trying to do better in life, then you don't really want to be with him, because you want somebody that's working towards their future. And this goes for you as well. Anybody who talks to you, who you are. If you see somebody, you should know your credit score. You should know that you're working towards making things better in life. And I recommend, some people, they think, oh, my credit history screwed. I got this problem. I got that problem. So many addicts have started right out of high school now. They never had an issue with their credit. They find out that their credit score has actually never even really been touched, that they can go in a short period of time. They've got good credit. They can get credit cards. In a couple of years, they can buy a new car, or with a cosign, or even sooner than that. But that's the thing. So many people don't even realize this stuff. We need to get this in everyone's mind. Everybody out there, you got to know your credit score. You've got to understand what's going on in the world, and this is a very valuable part. Taking care of yourself, most important. Your credit score, maybe not the second most important, but one of the top 5. Because by knowing that, you know that you're going the right way, that you're aiming to get better. You're going to make decisions that are going to help you, because to increase your credit score, to make it better, you're probably going to get some type of credit card, and you're going to have to make those monthly payments, okay? Understanding that the money's not going towards drugs, those monthly payments are easy to make, or way easier than what you'd figure. A lot of people, myself included, I didn't have a credit card till late in life. I buy small things on it, or I have like my utility bill go to my credit card, and then I pay the credit card. What that does is every month I'm paying bill on time to the credit card people. What that does is it shows them that I am doing what I need to do, that I am living up to my part of the bargain. And that's a thing in life. From this point out, you're detoxing. You got to live up to your part of the bargain, okay? So you got to be a man or a woman or whatever you may be, you got to stand up and do it. You got to be tough. You got to use what I like to call intestinal fortitude, the thing that just pushes you, that keeps you moving. You're going to need this more now than ever. Intestinal fortitude is where that feeling you have inside you that just pushes you and makes you just want to get something done, whether it's a craft project or something major in your life, like putting a roof on your house, or maybe getting your kid into a different school, and you have to go out of your way to work and maybe 2 jobs to get the money to do what you need to do, but it keeps pushing you on. That intestinal fortitude, you're going to need that now more than ever. Because as I mentioned before, you got to get away from the people who have the drugs. And now you're pumped up a little bit. You know that these people are not helping you, not helping your life, and you're going to be over this. We need in this country and everywhere in the world to make it so there is no market for this fentanyl. We need to literally make it to where they can't even get rid of it anymore. It's not worth getting caught with because you're not going to make the money because there's not enough people that want it. So this is what we have to do in order to win this war on drugs right now. In today's 2021 world, where there are more people coming over the southern border with fentanyl than ever before in history. I believe we are up almost 5,000% from what we were just a couple of years ago, and it's getting crazy. They say that almost every day enough fentanyl comes in over the southern border to kill 10 million Americans. Okay, so do the math. Every day goes by, 10 more million people were dead. Imagine how that would hit the news media. Okay, every day, like they said with the opioid crisis, every day 100 people on an airplane smash into the ground. How long do you think that would go on before the FAA would close them down and say, hey, no more airplanes? Okay, so now we have 100 people dying every day and nobody's saying a thing about it. I said this years ago and everyone looked at me like I was crazy. And right now, not to change the subject, but with COVID-19 and all the stuff going on with this is September 6th, I believe, was the date I seen, that they just released 890 studies that were done all around the world on things to help COVID-19. And you know what our doctors in the FDA did? They picked through the studies. They found 7 or 8 of them that interest them. The rest of them they just ignored because it didn't follow their ideas, their ideology of what they should do. So they decided they weren't even going to look at the studies. In those studies, there was vitamin D, zinc, sound familiar? Turmeric, this is another thing. All these things that you're going to take when you're detoxing, they're known to help COVID. Now, this is not a cure by no means. It's just something that builds your body up, though. These things are natural that make your body be able to handle cold and disease and pain and just all these things, and our body's usually lacking these things. I have personal friends of mine, they use turmeric to cook with. They make all different dishes. They love it. They said, so their meatloaf looks a little yellow. They don't care. They really don't. They love it because they know that they're eating good. And this is important. Eating good in life is something that it costs money, but it makes you healthy, and your health is what's going to keep your mind going, and your mind going is going to keep you moving, keep blood circulating, and getting your heart better, because they all got to work together. Your heart, your mind, your body, they all have to work, and the blood is the life that keeps them all moving. So you got to keep that going too. You got to make sure that the things you do are going to be the best thing for you. One of the other most important things, and this one is something that some people never do totally understand, but it is most important of all if you want to stay off of drugs, or learn, I should say, how not to become addicted to these drugs. You need to go back in your life and you need to understand what made you use drugs in the first place. What was the first experience that you did that made you use drugs? Or in this time, was it something that, you used it once and it helped, so then you were feeling depressed? Did you use it? Did you use it because you felt down, because you felt cool? Whatever it was, you got to work that into your mind. You got to try to figure out, why did I start using the drugs? And some people go to psychiatrists for years and never figure this out. Other people, as soon as they get clean in their mind, like we're talking second week into it, all of a sudden their mind, they start realizing all the people that died while they were using drugs that they knew, and they start getting really sad because they realize that good friends of theirs, people they went to school with, family members, these people are no longer around because of these drugs. And they start working back in time, and then they start realizing that, hey, I started using back, senior year in high school, hanging out with my buddies. I remember taking Xanax with them, and it's like now, they're 24 years old. They've tried to work, tried to have jobs, but they haven't really made it anywhere. Some of them work every day, and they actually do seem to be, somewhat have an idea of what's going on in life. They know how to make money, and, they're trying to make a life for themselves, but unfortunately, the drugs are kind of taking them over. And there's a saying that a lot of users say that basically when you're standing there and you're holding your baby in your arms, whether it's, son, daughter, no matter what, and that baby's not enough to make make you quit doing drugs, that you just want to keep doing them no matter what that baby is to you, that you know you're done. You know you need a program like this. You need a game plan. You need something that pull you around. And that's why the Pay It Forward program is so important. And I can't stress this enough, that this plan is not only for you to get clean, but it is to help somebody else who needs it. 90% of the people I've seen, probably more than that, 99.9% of the people I've seen that have died from opioids were good people, good-hearted. They meant well. They just were too easygoing. Something got them caught on it, and they couldn't stop. And I believe a lot of that is because they didn't have that friend that got clean that can say, hey, I did this. It actually works. It's good. Look at me. And that's what we need. We need to get more of those friends out there. We need to make sure and understand that hopefully I can get a GoFundMe or something going, and I can get some money so people can get their supplements for free or very little cost. You pay for the shipping, I'll get you what you need, something like that. The thing is all these ingredients, everything it takes for this detox, and that's the reason that the FDA and doctors don't want to do it. They're all cheap. There's nothing here that costs a ton of money. The hardest thing is your brain. That's it. But if you work at it and you do it and you succeed, and you kept your notes, and you drank lots of fluids, and you exercised, and you wrote down that I exercised today, but it really sucked. But you notice 30 days in that you're doing good. You're a month clean and you're feeling better. In 30 days, pretty much everybody that does this system will have everything out of their system and will have their body pumped up to the point where you can start calming down. You can go to just kind of, let's say, as people say in the drug term, a maintenance dose of just taking the basic supplements. You can't stop taking them, at least for a year, and that's because of the post-acute withdrawal syndrome, the pause. That kicks in later on, sometimes 6 months down the road, and when that kicks in, that's very, very important. And I believe, personally, women that have postpartum depression, the same thing. You should be on the prenatal vitamins and a bunch of vitamins and stuff like this long after you have the child. You need that stuff to pump up your system. The things like the DLPA that I mentioned, these are things that make you feel better. A lot of people, and I did not mention it in the little list of things, take SAM-E. That's right, SAM-E. It's a very, very great product for a lot of people. They don't talk about it enough. People with fibromyalgia, there's a lot of people that really, really trust in SAM-E. In some countries, you need a prescription for it. Here, you can buy it over the counter in pill forms. You can also get shots of it from your doctor. Some people have great luck with SAM-E, just everything in their life and their health. I always recommend to some people to read about it, see if it's right for you. If it is, try it. It's relatively cheap. A lot of people, whether you're opioid or detoxing or not, SAM-E is just has done wonders for people, and I just got to mention it here. Another great thing is moringa. Any of the superfoods, but moringa in particular. People who use kratom know that, you get one thing that companies kratom use, especially in high dosages, is hair loss. You lose your hair. Moringa is something that if you take it, you won't lose your hair. But a lot of people find that moringa, being a superfood, it takes care of a lot of the vitamins and stuff that they need without having to actually buy vitamins, taking it naturally. The vitamin K, a lot of the vitamins are all in moringa. Moringa is a great superfood. In the summertime, I think in Florida, there's a few places, maybe in California, that grow moringa. I know you can buy the leaves like on eBay and through Amazon right off the tree. You can just make salad out of them or do it. I heard that's very good. That'll help as pre-probiotic. You could also, buy the powder. You can buy that. That's what I prefer. I just buy the powder. You can make it into a smoothie, or you can put it in capsules or whatever you want. It's cheaper to buy a bigger container of it than it is to actually buy the capsules themselves. The capsules themselves are still not expensive, but moringa is just a great superfood. Some people have asked me, they say, hey, I've been off drugs for like a week now. I'm really in withdrawals, really bad. Where do I start on this program? What can I do to help myself? And I say jump to day 2, as far as the time and the amount you're taking. That's right where I would go and see what happens at that point. I would skip day 1. If you're in withdrawal already, you got to do something. The biggest thing is if you're in withdrawal and you're having issues, As I mentioned before, you got to get fluid in you, lots of fluid. That's a big thing. You got to dilute what's inside you. You got to break it down. That fluid's going to help. And of course, once you start the rest of the program, you should be fine. But it's going to take you a couple of days. But you're going to notice if you don't have any issues with your body, you might want to try boosting up the vitamin C a little bit more, a couple of grams. If you don't have any issues, a lot of people that were on these drugs, they can take a lot. So that's why I'm saying if you get enough vitamin C in you by megadosing this way, it's going to help you a lot, and you're going to wait a couple of hours and try, and see how you are then. You never want to just take more and more and more real quick. Always give it 2 to 3 hours, 2 hours minimum. 3 hours is, when you're doing a lot of it, 5 grams, 7 grams at a time, always allow at least an extra hour, just in case you do have a sore stomach or something like this. Even if you've relapsed, don't put yourself down over it. The thing about these drugs is they alter your state of mind. They kind of distort reality. This program is designed with the exercise and everything to kind of reboot your body. So let's say you're on subs and methadone or fentanyl. You're on something that's, clinging to your body really bad. Sometimes what you have to do is, if you're especially on subs and methadone, if you can still get some, I would take and do like day 1 of the program. Do day 1 for like 3 days while you're still using, and then do day 2. And every day, when you skip a day, drop some milligrams of the drug that you're taking. And then do 2-day 2s or 3-day 2s, so the amount you would use on day 2, do that for 3 days in a row. And then do like day 3 when you're quitting, do that for like 3 days in a row. You're going to take a lot for 3 days, and then day 4, do that day for 3 days in a row. What that'll do is that'll build up your body. It'll help. You really need that with the subs and methadone especially. My understanding from all the people I've spoke to, which is like hundreds of them, we've had, polls on the internet, stuff like this. Everyone says the subs and methadone are way worse to come off of than just heroin by itself, or even oxys or any of the other stuff. The fentanyl, a lot of it's mental. I guess a lot of people just love fentanyl. It just gets into their system and their body. What it does is it distorts your mind. So when you're not thinking correctly, and fentanyl is really, really good at that. So, like I say, the biggest thing is if you're coming off of these, you can do it. And let's say your sub doctor, he'd just leave you hanging one day and you're stuck. If you're doing that, just jump to day 2. Just try to, do what you can to get as quick as you can, get better. If you just cannot handle it anymore, make sure plenty of fluids. Keep pumping those fluids in you. That's going to help a lot. You can add a couple of grams of vitamin C if you need to. Like I said, cut every 2 hours if you need to go up to 5 grams every 2 hours. If that's what you need to do, if you're in a bad situation and you're detoxing, you're way better off doing that than trying to use. Because once you get that couple of days of this, even if you're detoxing bad, it's going to pull you out of it. When you're mega dosing vitamin C, if you look at the plan there, what they're talking about, it blocks that barrier in your brain. So it's going to help you a real lot. So I was talking earlier about, asking why did you start using drugs and why did you keep using drugs? What in your mind was, thinking? Did somebody tell you could never succeed in life? Do you have a facial problem? Like my son had a problem with his teeth. Did you have some issue that just bugged you, that made you feel bad about yourself? Because this is something that a lot of people, when they can figure out why they started using, they can take that and they can use it so they don't go down that same road again. A lot of people use drugs for a reason. There's actually, they might say it's for pain, but in reality, it's not for the pain that they were getting from their body. It was the pain they were getting from their mind. They had some issues, and it made them feel worse because they just never got over whatever the issue is. Death of a loved one. It's a lot of different things it can be. If you can understand why you went through this, then it can help you to get over it and it can help you from ever going through anything like that again. You can be more open about when you start thinking about things, thinking, well, last time I had a thought, look what it caused me, so it'll help you think a little clearer. And as I said before, some people go to a psychiatrist for years and never actually have the answer of why they started using or what the actual reason was. But you need to work on your mind, and that's one thing. If you can get that out of your system, understand you're never going to do that again. Okay, and also talking about taking care of yourself earlier, make sure you start dressing for the career you want, or whatever you want. Let's say right now you don't have a job, you're staying with friends, and, you're going to need clothes to go get a job. Start dressing for the job you want. So if you want to be a dental hygienist or whatever, and say you went to school for that, but you never really did it as a job, whatever it may be, you want to make sure you dress. If you are doing something that requires your people who are in that field, when they're off of work, usually wear a certain type of clothes. You want to start wearing those type of clothes. You want to start looking like you could be doing that for a living. Because what happens is when you start dressing a certain way and you start thinking about certain things, like maybe being a dental hygienist, and what happens is, let's say you go and you get a job working in a dentist office, and they're teaching you the ropes. You go to some school or whatever you need to do, and as you're working on it, pretty soon you start learning stuff, talking to the people who do it, and next thing you know, you're doing it for a living. And it can be anything can happen that way. And that's very important that you put your foot in the door when it comes to doing things in life. Finally, one of the most popular questions on the internet: what am I going to do about my legs? They're killing me. I got restless leg syndrome. My legs are just killing me. What can I do for this? Okay, in this plan, the best thing you can do is all those fluids and exercise, the magnesium you were taking. This is going to help your legs a lot. But let's say that it's just still killing you and you need to do something. The exercise, you can increase that. That will help. If you have the ability and you feel up to it, exercise a lot. Go out and run. Maybe an hour, 2 hours before you go to bed. Take a quick shower, go to bed. What'll happen is you'll beef up your heart, you'll pump up your heart really good, you'll tire out those legs. Usually they'll be more restful. If for some reason it doesn't work, there's Highlands, it's a company, they make a product called Restful Legs. A lot of people have really good luck with this. Years ago they said that tonic water, if you find a good quality tonic water, you can actually drink 8 ounces of that. 8 ounces of tonic water don't taste all that great, but it will get rid of your restless legs. Just a couple of things I'd like to add. If you're looking for someone to look up to, look up King Randall.
Lawrence, I'll say this. I believe, that anybody who says that something can't be done doesn't know my God. And I think that's extremely important for us to know.
He's helping out the youth of the world, helping out the youth of his hometown. I think people like that are making change in the world, these are very important. Another couple of things I want to mention. I mentioned before some people might want to take kratom instead of Imodium. If you do, only take kratom for 2 weeks. 3.5 grams at a time you can do. If you need more, you can go up to 5 grams. Take that every few hours. You can do that without an issue. Never, ever take more than 18 grams of kratom in a 24-hour period. There should be no reason to. You want to stay less is more. That's very important. And no matter what you're doing, any of this program, if you want the best thing for your body, and everyone should love this, drink the juice from the pickle jar. It's actually one of the best things. More people say that helped them better than any supplement. So I'm glad you waited till the end of this video, and I want to thank everyone for listening. Everyone, please take care. And take the time to pay it forward, because you don't have to worry in this program about sending me money. And I'm not doing this for the money. I'm doing this program so you can share it with other people. You buy the supplements, you can help somebody else. Let's say you're all done and you found that you could get all the supplements for $200. Well, maybe what you want to do is find somebody you care about, spend $200 on them, tell them about the plan, and get them to get off of drugs. Maybe because you're doing better, you do that for a couple of people. everybody that they can help and they do it. This is going to help two people. The whole story of helping two people to help two people to help two people. This is what we need to do. A couple of things I forgot to mention. Hot baths with Epsom salt. I showed it in the picture there of other supplements, one of the last things. That's if you're hurting really bad and your body's just aching. Hot bath with Epsom salt. Just soak in a hot bathtub. It'll make you feel so much better. Also, hopefully I'm going to get a GoFundMe thing going. Check GoFundMe. Just pay it forward emergency detox. Look that up on GoFundMe. See if I made one or not. If I do it, whatever money I collect, I'll use that money to help not only promote this video, which is something I wish that everyone would do. Please share this video as much as possible. Try to get it out there. There's a lot of parents that are sitting at their house right now with their child trying to get him to detox, and their child wants to do it, but they have no good way of doing it. And the families do not have money to go out and spend $10,000 for a rehab center. If some of the people would donate money to me, I would use that money so people could get free supplements. And I think that would be the biggest thing. There is a discount code that I put in the video. If you use that discount code, the pipingrock.com, they will actually give me money back for what I'm doing. I can use that money to help make sure people get free supplements, because they'll give it to me. They'll use that money to give me supplements, and I can have those shipped directly to people's houses. And I might have to pay shipping or whatever, but I'd like to do that for people. That's why this video was so important. I hope everyone takes it to heart, and if they come up with things that might help somebody, post it in the comments wherever you see the video. But come back here to this YouTube and post it as well, because I will be reading the comments, and I'm hoping that we can get more information to help more people. And don't forget to take the time to pay it forward.